Hi everyone and welcome to the end of day 2 of NAMM 2019. My name's James Ivey.
I'm Audrey Martinovich.
Eli Krantzberg.
It's the end of day 2, the sun is down, the bands are rocking, and we have some finds of the day. There they are, they're rocking out behind us. It's going to get loud, boys and girls. I'm cheating.
Oh, are you?
A little bit. I've got a couple of my finds, are actually 2 finds.
2?
Yeah, so hey, I'm running the show, it's my deal, so there. Loughton Audio have brought out some new microphones, and these are very, very cool. The LS208 and the LS308.
Oh.
They are very different, however. The 208 is a kind of SM7B stroke RE20-esque microphone, but it's actually a large diaphragm condenser.
Oh.
Nice.
They're kind of aiming it at instruments, kind of like drums, toms,
Sure.
fairly loud stuff. It's got a ridiculously high SPL type thing. They've promised that I can get some of these fairly quickly after the show. Yummy. The other one, the 308, is a very different beast. This is actually a 4-diaphragm, large diaphragm condenser.
Wow.
But 2 of the pairs of diaphragms are separated by an air gap of about 1.5 inches.
Really?
And what this is doing is it's making the focal point of the pickup incredibly narrow. It's not just a hypercardioid, it's kind of like almost a beam of detection.
Wow.
So for snare drum, you whack it above a snare drum and absolutely
Or
zero bleed from the hi-hat or the toms. Absolutely awesome piece of kit. Those are going to be a little while down the track, but I will be getting one of those as well. They'll fit quite neatly around a drum kit. They've been using it to record steel drums and vocals. Sound absolutely killer. The Loughton stuff is really good value for money.
I love my Loughton Horizon. It's my flagship tube mic.
We'll put all the details in the site. But yeah, really, really cool mics, and they looked and sounded amazing.
Awesome. Well, one of my things, you mentioned bleed, that might be good for that. In case it's not good enough, though, our Isotope RX has a new repair assistant, and some of the modules that are in there are pretty cool. So one of them is a de-bleed module. So if you've got a vocal, where the headphone click was too loud, you're picking that up, you just sample that click. The software looks at that and removes it from your track, leaving everything else intact. It's super cool, but it works with not just click tracks. So if you've got any other kind of headphone bleed or if there's a band outside, we should use it for this. Yeah, it'd be a perfect application. It was really fascinating. Yeah, very cool.
Awesome. My first find of the day, Revoice Pro 4.1. For those of you who don't know them, I think Revoice Pro doesn't get the love they deserve. All the post people use it, but for music, it's kind of an unsung hero. And the update has some really cool features. The first thing is the APT has an automatic process group function. So what does that mean? Let's say you've got your guide vocal track, you've got 10 backup vocals. You transfer it into Revoice Pro, it'll automatically create all the output tracks for you and name them for you.
Wow.
So really simplifying the workflow.
Yeah.
And then when you're working with ARA2, which has also been improved now, particularly with Studio One, they're all automatically transferred back right away, names, really a seamless workflow. The thing I think that maybe has put people off a little bit about Revoice Pro in the past is, you have to transfer it in and back, but it's really getting more and more seamless. And the other thing that's cool, particularly with the ARA2 version, it's a lot faster. So now, let's say this scenario where you have your guide vocal track, you got a bunch of backups, you transfer it in, you're transferring the timing, because you want all the timing of your backups, and you're transferring the pitch. Maybe you're doubling, you have a bunch of double tracks.
Hey.
You run your processes, all the doubles are lined up with time and pitch, with their natural little bit of offset, that the doubling. Then, with the guide track, let's say you decide, I noticed one of the notes is out of tune. Adjust it in the guide track, it's done. It's all the copies, all across, it's all done. That is really sweet.
Very cool, I like that a lot. Okay, so did I ever mention I like microphones?
No.
It might have come up in the past. This is one you guys have to check out. This is the new Chandler Limited TG microphone. If you're a fan of the TG range of hardware processors, the TG mic is a must. Now, this is effectively, there's various switching and kind of different emulation positions. It's not kind of DSP emulation, it's basically circuit switching within the microphone, giving you up to 20 different sounding, classic, vintage sounding microphones. Very, very cool. Now, often the Chandler stuff, it's built no compromise. It's hand built in the States. It is generally pretty damn awesome stuff. Often that reflects in the price.
Sure.
The TG mic is $1,800. So I think that's kind of their forecasted price. We're looking at about $1,800. It's a seriously great sounding microphone. I mean, I sort of just, you know, with trade show background noise, I went in and went, this sounds cool.
Nice.
And of course, there is one on its way when we get back to the UK.
Yay! Well, I am a huge fan of ribbon microphones. I've written some articles that feature some samples of ribbons and everything, and I always have a little dB boost there to protect it from phantom power. Well, Royer just came out with their own dB booster, I believe today. Should be available, I think, in mid-March, they said. About $175, not too terrible, but it gives you that boost that you might need with a low output mic, such as an SM7B or something like that, but it's also going to protect your really high-end Royer.
I checked it out also. What I really liked about it is it's a no-brainer. There's two switches,
Right.
12 dB boost, 20 dB boost. That's it. No adjusting the impedance or the ohms. Like, you can't go wrong with it.
Exactly.
I'm actually anxious about it too. I want to try it out. With
I know.
my
I want to
SM7.
get a couple of them, I think. Yeah, exactly.
My next one in the day, East West has a new library coming out. Hollywood pop brass. Now we're all always searching for that elusive pop brass library. The hardest thing, next to guitars, pop brass, the holy grail. And it's kind of a work in progress, but what I saw, I was really impressed with. It's got multi-sampled horns all sampled together. It's a 5-piece sword section and phrases. So short phrases, like, 2-3 notes long, mapped out across the keyboard. You can play them in any key, and they'll sync to tempo. Very cool. It's also going to include, which they didn't have to show today, a full multi-sample set of a 5-piece brass sampled together, but a full multi-sample, mapping, so you can play your parts in, and possibly what I'm thinking is combine them with some of the phrases to really get some interesting effects. And it's all hosted in their Play interface, so you get all the nice, sweet, the processing that's in there. And what's kind of interesting is they got a nice mic setup. There's 2 section mics and 3 position mics. So you can really customize the blend of this brass section. It's not, we think pop brass, we think, okay, I got to program my trumpet, my second trumpet, my alto, my tenor. Here you're having the whole section sampled together, but you can play with the positioning and the balance. And anyway, I'm pretty optimistic and excited to see what it's like. And they say it's due out in the spring.
So I now have to think of an alternative third one because I was also going to do the East-West Pop Brass. Thanks. You can tell we plan these things, can't you?
About this in advance, I think.
You can tell we plan these things. Okay, so I'm going to go with the 2 new. I'm going to go 2 again because the 2 new interfaces from Arturia. I did the review of the original Audio Fuse. Very small form factor, very portable interface, and it sounds very, very cool. They have just brought out 2 new interfaces in the line, the Audio Fuse Studio, which gives us 4 mic pre's, and the Audio Fuse 8 pre. Guess how many mic pre's?
12.
No, 8 mic pre's. The Studio is a kind of desktop form factor. The 8 pre is a rack mount interface. Very, very cool. If it's anything like the quality of the Audio Fuse 2, should we call it, the original one, then it's going to be a great sounding box. I look forward to getting those to review very soon.
Very cool. So my last thing here is Trident has actually just paired up with Silo Sound Labs to create a couple of EQ plugins based on their gear. So there is the 80B EQ. It's a little bit smaller. It's got your low mids. Very cool, very smooth. I really enjoyed that. And then the second one is the CB9066 EQ. And the really interesting thing about this is that it's super CPU friendly. So you can have a whole bunch of instances of these plugins and it's not going to bog down your session. You're not going to get any latency. It's really efficient.
These are in all the formats, audio unit and...
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it should. Yeah.
For us non-Pro Tools users.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right,
Yep.
last item of the day, the heart and soul and spirit of what NAMM is about. A party.
Woo!
I just came from the Eventide party. And they've got some fantastic new products this year. They've released their Instant Phaser 2, which I have a video out on Logic Pro Expert. Take a look. It's a really cool phaser plugin. They got the Rose pedal, which is a new delay pedal. And they're reissuing a bunch of vintage stuff. They're having a nice party there. They had Vernon Reid playing. They had some drinks. They had a big crowd of people. It makes you feel good. It's really, you know, sometimes hearing live music at NAMM, it's like, it's just, this is what it's about.
I would say this year's NAMM has got a very, very positive, very cool music creation vibe about it. It's about getting back to the music. It's not, yes, the gear and the tech is fab, and we're all here for that, but there is a very cool vibe to the show, I think. So that's day 2 of NAMM 2019 done. We will see you tomorrow for day 3. Good night, everyone.
Good night.